Hello, everybody listening to the Fairweather Podcast. Your boy 2K Suave. I'm joined with my dog A-Rod as usual. And welcome back to the show, Mr. Mike Pless. What's
What's up?
going on, man?
Good, man. How are you guys?
Man, just another day, another dollar, another week. Time to holler. Um, Today, right after work, I'm gonna get like a quick little basketball workout in. It started pouring, but literally, I didn't know that A-Rod's background was going to be Kobe Bryant jerseys, being that when this episode drops, it's going to be 8/24. But
Oh, yeah.
literally,
It is.
it was thundering outside, raining, and I was like, you know what? What would Kobe do? Mamba mentality. And I kept playing. I literally kept playing in the rain. So it's like, sometimes it just that Mamba-ness just comes to you, A-Rod. How you doing, bro? What you been up to,
It's
Mr. Real
Kobe.
Estate Guy?
It's Kobe's birthday today, so that's why I'm rocking it. Yes, tomorrow is Mamba Day, so
Yeah,
get to hear this tomorrow, and it'll be 8/24, so it'll
right.
be a good thing. But chilling, man. I went to a networking event before this. Got a little wine in me. Got a little liquored up, so I'm limber, ready to go.
Oh, we about to get a ball to the wall pause.
No.
Happy A-Rod.
No, I know how to keep it professional, but yeah, a little networking event, lots of wine,
Right.
lots of beers.
So what we like to do, Mr. Pless, we like to kick it off with the craziest, wackiest, or funniest thing that we've seen in sports over the last 7 days. What
Okay.
say you?
Yeah, I got to go with today with Miami's quarterback Tua and Ryan Clark. Like that was pretty funny to me.
That's out of nowhere.
Yeah, like Tua coming out with don't speak my name, don't let your name or my name come
Keep
out
my
of your
name out of
mouth.
your mouth.
Yeah, so it's like that was pretty cool. And like I guess I don't know, I guess the fat or like body shaming is
Is
a
back.
thing. Yeah, because you see
Quentin Williams.
yeah, Quentin Williams and Mike Evans.
Your
Mike
boy,
Evans.
Mike Evans.
Yeah, Mike Evans calling him
I
fat.
like Mike Evans too, man.
So I just thought that was pretty funny with Tua, and Tua stepping up and like, defending himself, and Ryan Clark and his comments. So that was pretty funny.
Good for Tua. What about you, A-Rod?
I think what I took away from that is Tua's really bad at shit talking. Like he couldn't find a way to like.
Oh, it was tough. He was struggling.
He was trying to be nice about it,
respectful and all that. But
Yeah.
he sucks at shit talking. I mean, I love Tua. I wish the best for him, but Dolphins are going to Dolphin 9-8. I think the craziest thing that I saw, I would say out of nowhere, Corey Davis retiring for me, man. I thought the roster was really good. And my only thinking behind that is Corey Davis was probably going to get cut. He didn't want to go out like that, so he just decided to retire. I think we all are in agreement that like where he was drafted in his draft class, he's been, I don't want to say a bust, but he's like underperformed for what pick he was.
He didn't reach his full potential.
Correct. He had a good year last year, but it was very lackluster, and the year before very lackluster. And I thought this year would have been a good option, but I just don't think they had like a solid path for him on the depth chart. And then Dan Orlovsky just comes out and just says like, oh, the Jets without him are going to be fine. Like, let the man retire in peace, man. Don't already start dragging his name through the mud saying that we're going to be fine without him. Like he's a good guy. He's not a bad dude, but that was very weird for me to see him just call it quits when I know he has more left in him.
And I don't know if we're on the actual day or almost to the day when Andrew Luck surprisingly retired. I don't remember the exact. I know it was August 2019. August. I got to remember the date, but he was only 29. Corey Davis was 28. So, yeah. So I mean, who else? What was his name? Linebacker for the Carolina Panthers.
Kuechly?
Yeah, Luke Kuechly. He was young. So it's not. Sometimes you kind of just know, and you don't want to put your body through that anymore. And then there's like more power to you. You got to your second contract. You did what you had to do. Good for you. Kudos. For me, And mine is I was a little bit more annoyed with mine. So, I've been waiting for 15 years for this Gator documentary to come out on Netflix, the Swamp Kings. I ever since I closely paid attention to that team, I've been like into it. Like I cannot wait for this to be a documentary because holy shit, this team had Aaron Hernandez, the Ponte twins, Chris Rainey, Tebow, obviously. I mean, Lou Murphy, they're Joe Hayden. They had an amazing football team, and a lot of criminals on that team as well. And I've been waiting for this story. And then I watched the Untold on Netflix, and I was very disappointed. It didn't really. It was like an interview of Urban Meyer. Like I don't care about Urban Meyer. Like it was literally a Urban Meyer / Tim Tebow documentary. It was like Michael Jordan's Last Dance. It was supposed to be about the Chicago Bulls, but no, that was a Michael Jordan documentary. And I felt like they didn't really cover. I mean, I heard Aaron Hernandez's name 3 times in that whole episode. That's it. And Janoris Jenkins and all the stuff, all the club incidents and all the stuff that we've been waiting to hear in the light. They either don't have the story because they did a good job hiding everything, or they just missed they just missed it to me. Like Untold, and Untold, I like this Johnny Manziel. I like the Balco one. I like the last few ones that they've done. This one, not only that it wasn't just one episode, they spread it across 4 episodes and made me sit through, oh my God, stuff that I already knew. So that was a little disappointing for me. So
yeah, it could have been, things they just couldn't talk about. We don't know, but
I mean, statute of limitations.
Yeah. I mean, I thought, it was funny that they talked about some of the incidents and they're like, we just never got the police reports. They had an attorney at the school and he hid everything, from public. So
remember that lineman, he was talking about like the University of Florida runs the state of Florida. Oh, yeah. So like everything that happens on campus that might be detrimental, go ahead and just throw that away. Here, shredded in this over here. So yeah, I mean it's like that, especially in the SEC. Nick Saban's is like the most famous person in Alabama. He's the highest paid person in Alabama. He literally gets written in on votes every year for every single political position that they have. So sometimes, especially in the South, football is king, and depending on how good you are or your school is, you can pretty much get away with murder. And I'm not saying that to be like blasphemous or crazy. Like I'm dead serious. You could pretty much. Aaron Hernandez, had he done what he did in college, not to speak of the dead and all that stuff, but he might have found a way out of it. So I'm just saying. But we're not here to talk about the University of Florida. We're not here to talk about the Jets. Thank God. I've heard enough about them over the last 2 months.
Me too. I don't want to hear anymore.
But we are going to talk about part of the reason why Mr. Mike Pless is here. Mr. Bucs guy himself. What was it? The Real Report?
Real Bucs talk.
Huh?
Real Bucs. Oh,
yeah, Real Bucs talk.
Real Bucs talk. What am I? Yeah. Real Bucs talk. Okay, so obviously, I tell you guys about the film and the videos and the draft breakdowns and the preseason practice video. I see it all, Mike. I pay close attention to your work. So obviously, we're going to talk about the NFC South and AFC South today. We're going to start off with the NFC South. Latest news out of Bucs camp of significance: Baker Mayfield is awarded the starting job. When I thought I read somewhere that Kyle Trask was sneaking up on him, so I don't know what happened. I mean, he looked, he's looked pretty decent in camp from what I see. But Baker Mayfield, to me, rightfully so, unless. See how I would do it, if I was the Bucs, I would start Kyle Trask and just tank so you can get Caleb Williams. That's how I would do it. But floor is yours, Mike. What do you think of the latest news?
Yeah, I think it was expected. Baker was, brought in for a reason. I think he was going to be the starter all along. He's a perfect match for the offense under Dave Canales, who's the new Buccaneers offense coordinator. It made a lot of sense. And, Baker's healthy now. He's coming into probably the best situation he's been in the NFL, in my opinion. He's got great weapons to throw to in Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And he's got, plenty of talent in the running back room with Rashad White, an offensive line that still has Tristan Wirfs on it, that has a lot of upside there, moving to left tackle. So I just think it made a lot of sense going with Baker. He's got more experience. He's played in this offense before. And with Kyle Trask, I thought he was coming along really nicely. He developed finally this offseason because he actually got work, as opposed to the last couple of years where he didn't get any reps. Now he got reps and he looks just so much better, quicker in his release, better confidence. And I think we could get a point in the like later on in this season where we could see him play. It just depends, like if Baker gets hurt, or if Baker, starts not playing it so well and starts throwing more picks or something along that nature, or they're just not winning games. Kyle Trask could definitely come in the second half of the season, and you can see what you have with him. But right now, Baker is the guy, and I think he's got a really good chance to surprise a lot of folks and have success.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people saying train wreck and worst team. I'm like, I know, like it's not like they got rid of the whole team. They got rid of an important player who was playing bad last year. So
a lot of people say that because again, they had Tom Brady and they got rid of him, and they think, oh, the Bucs are just going to suck now because Brady left.
Yeah,
not quite, because there's still a lot of talent on this team. And they got rid of the biggest problem, which was Byron Leftwich last year, the offense coordinator. And then Tom Brady just couldn't play in this offense because he didn't want to get hit. Mm-hmm. And this type of offense where you have to hold the ball to throw it downfield, more than 3 seconds, 4 seconds.
Yeah, that's not Brady.
No. And he did that the first couple of years he was there. He held the ball longer and took hits and threw it downfield. But this last year, he just wasn't in it.
He didn't have that much time to like really study. Like he's dealing with it. Literally
a lot of distractions.
That early part of the season, there was just no down. You could just see him looking smaller and skinnier. Like everything was just off. And we know to play that long in the NFL, or the Tom Brady's, the Kareems, the LeBrons, like the people who are able to play that long, their routine is so routine. Like they're like any kind of blip to that kind of, any kind of obstacle in that routine can kind of throw you off a little bit because they've been doing it the same way every day for the last how many years, So
but with that said, again, that's last year. It's a new year for the Buccaneers, and I like the direction that they're heading into for this season.
Forgive me because I didn't pay too much attention to what the moves that the Bucs made over the summer, but what outside of the Leftwich firing, what moves did you guys make this summer that you think might be a little significant, and what moves do you think they still need to make if possible?
Well, I think the biggest thing is they got younger and faster. So on offense, I think, you got more athletic offensive linemen up front with, you're adding a Matt Filer, who's a decent left guard. You got Robert Hainsey in there, who's probably going to start the season because we don't know what's going on with Ryan Jensen. They drafted Cody Mock, the guy out of North Dakota State, good athletic offensive lineman. And then they have Luke Gedeke, who's going to be the right tackle, probably the weakest of the bunch. Kind of struggled last year, but
they moved Wirfs to left.
Yeah, Wirfs is going to be your left tackle, which again I think is the right move because he's your best offensive lineman. Yeah. So you put him in a position to make a bunch of money, which he's going to get.
Yeah.
And then defensively, I love what they've done as far as just getting faster up front. Kalijah Kancey, the first round pick, really good player. He's dealing with a calf. Yeah, he's dealing with a calf injury right now, but he's going to be ready for week 1 and should be a lot of fun with him next to Vita Vea. You got Shaq Barrett returning from injury, who looks on schedule, looks really good. And then they got Ryan Neal in the secondary, who I really like. I think that's a great addition for safety. Allows Antoine Winfield to go back to free safety, which is his best position, and probably be an all-pro this year at that spot. And you still have a really good secondary with Carlton Davis and Jamel Dean. And then you look at Levante David coming back, which was huge, going next to Devin White, who probably will have his best season because it's money making time right now. So,
hey, Robert, you been paying attention to the Bucs at all? You know, you live here, so you have no choice.
No, man. For our listeners, I just want you guys to know that Mike Pless is a diehard Bucs fan. So some of the things he says, in my personal opinion, you know, I saw Pless last week, and I was like, you know, I know you're gonna come on, you're gonna talk your shit, you're gonna say what you want, and
are you going to mention the secondary, A-Rod?
You're an overzealous player.
He thinks the secondary is garbage.
Yeah, I knew it.
You're an overzealous fan. So, like, I get that. I think the Baker Mayfield thing, like, I think it was inevitable. We all knew that was going to be the starting quarterback. Right. I am happy that they're giving Trask playing time. He deserves it, and that's what I wanted to see because, you know, he was let's not forget, he was a Heisman candidate. You know, with Florida, however you want to carve it up, it was a weak class. I don't give a shit.
Kyle Pitts.
It doesn't matter. Kyle Pitts had to catch the ball somehow,
yeah,
so he was throwing. So I don't care how you want to, you know, carve it up. I'm not a fan of Florida quarterbacks, Florida anything really. They breed some guys that are good here and there, but I don't know. I'm just not a Florida fan. But I thought he was good, and I thought he deserved his time, especially if you take him in the second round, because the last thing you want to happen is grabbing a player like that can be the centerpiece of your foundation on offense for a long time, and then letting him go to shit, i.e. Trey Lance situation right now in San Francisco. So yeah, go figure. The last pick in the draft, you know, we'll see what happens. But I'm happy Baker gets a new clean slate here. I think, from what I'm seeing from him, he looks a little more matured. I've never been really high on him. I don't want to say he's humble. I don't think he's humbled at all.
At this point, he's been on 4 teams in the last year.
That's his problem. That's his own problem. I think we wanted to get Ruth on the podcast tonight, but she's busy with things. She asked, I watch her clips and I watch yours too, Plus, but she asked him a question about how he feels about beating out Kyle Trask. And he just said, you know, I think we're all in the locker room for the same reason, is to win ball games. And I was sitting in his, you know, seat last year dealing with the same thing. And I had to, you know, suck it up and wait for my name to be called. And when your name is called, you go in there and you shine. So I thought that was admirable from him. I don't think he's humbled, but I think he's grown up a lot. We'll see as the year goes on what happens with that. Right. As far as the Buccaneers, I mean, they really didn't make any signings in the offseason, in my opinion, that like woo you. They had to shed payroll because they had to get rid of all those big contracts they gave the 1 years to try and run it back, you know, with the team. I did like the falling of the D-line guy to you guys from Pitt. I thought I was like, that's heaven sent for y'all. Just get another great defensive lineman that you're going to put up there.
From Pitt.
Yeah.
We know the last one that they breeded, Aaron Donald.
I mean, they're already comparing him to Aaron Donald, which I don't see it.
Different player.
Different player, correct. I think that's a crazy grade to give somebody coming in. But from the get-go, I remember people comparing him to Donald. But I thought that was a good get for you guys there. You know, my feelings in the secondary, I won't even touch it. I think Woodfield's the only guy that's worth a shit there. I really like him. All pro. I think you're smoking a lot of weed if you think he makes all pro.
What about
he's a really good free safety.
How do you feel about Jamil Dean?
Huh? Jamil Dean for some reason is like always at the bottom of people's like top 30 lists, and I'm like, I don't know how, but okay. Just, you know, I watch so many plays where the receivers or the corners get burnt by receivers, and you know, Carlton Davis, I'm not a fan. I feel like every big play he makes, and he makes a lot of big plays. For every big play he makes, tack on some kind of penalty to it and advance 5 yards on it. So that guy is a head case to me. I don't know. I'm not a fan of Carlton Davis. I couldn't even tell you who the other safety is back there. Plus,
Ryan Neal.
Neal.
Yeah, Ryan Neal from Seattle.
The signing that they made this summer that we already alluded to, even though you said there was no Anyway, continue.
What you do, one, good for them. And the big question for me, and I'm trusting Pless on this, and I want to believe it. I really want to believe it, that this kid Rachaad White is going to be the truth. Like,
I hear so many mixed things about him. Like
Pless had him on his podcast, and he's a real humble, nice dude. Character says a lot for me about players. Your character is going to speak for me, and this is way off topic. This is really way off topic. What I'm about to say, real quick. I was playing 2K just because it was free.
Whoa! What? 2K?
I was playing it, and I was playing the my player, and they want you to be like a shit talker and not be a humble person in that game. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, how do you answer the question? It's like, I wouldn't say none of this shit.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that either. Like, they want you to like engage in social media, like confrontation with your rival and shit. I'm like, this is so whack. This is some kid. This is literally Gen Z bullshit. They're eluding other people too. So, way off topic, but the characteristics that Rachaad White has, and the way he holds himself, and he's been really just call my name and I'm ready to do what I need to do, and now's his time. So we'll see what we get out of it. And I'm praying he does well. Like KK said though, I've heard mixed things, but if there's anything I believe Pless in is the running back thing. Everything else he says about the Bucs, he's just an overzealous fan. That's all I'll say about that.
Yeah, and I mean, like, speaking of Ruth, she was like, Rachaad White is a monster. Because I asked her like about the quarterback situation, then I asked her about the running back situation. Like, is Rachaad White really good, or like, what am I supposed to be expecting? Yeah. And she said he's a monster. So, for you fantasy people out there, I don't know what that means to you.
He should have a really good season. I mean, the dude has it all put together.
You play fantasy football, Mike?
I do. Yeah,
okay.
I play with.
Round is a good enough round, or are you reaching for him?
I mean, I think I told Alex, I was like, third round or later. Again, it just depends like how quick the running backs are going, in your draft. But
if it's our league, it's pretty fucking quick. He'll probably
that's true. You probably have to take him second round. That's probably the best bet. But I feel like he's going to have a really good season. He's going to get a lot of touches, be featured a lot in the passing game and the running game as well. Dude can catch, run routes. You can pretty much do everything. So really excited to see him being utilized in the right scheme, as opposed to last year where they decided not to use him and use, Fournette, who was injured and not very good.
You think he's going to make a roster?
That's Tom's boy. Huh? Do what? Lenny make a roster? Yeah. I don't know. I hope he retires.
Damn. How old is he?
I didn't like him. I'm not a fan.
I mean, because he showed up to camp 265 pounds and his playing weight is 230 or something like that. So I don't know what the hell happened, but hey.
Wasn't a fan. But yeah, really excited to see.
We're body shaming again. Damn.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Body shaming.
Where's Tua? But
Tua, I'm sorry, Tua.
But yeah, looking forward to Rachaad. He'll have a great year.
Yeah, so I'm looking at his ADP right now. Overall on a standard is like 63, PPR 65.
That sounds right.
So we'll see. All right. And then for me, real quick, I just want to kind of touch on. I just want to talk about Baker real quick. 33 and 39 career record. 61% completion percentage, which is below league average. 102 touchdowns to 64 interceptions, and 86.5 quarterback rating. So
this is your king. This is their king.
Is this your king? Right? No, but no, like seriously though, like you take your fandom out of it, take it all out, right? We've watched this story a few times now where it's like, Cleveland, he had his days and then it just completely fell off, and then, he gets, the maturity is not there, I don't know. Maybe he's maturing, but like, do those numbers concern you at all?
Yeah, I mean, it's concerning, but you also have to take everything into context and you have to look at the situations that he was put in. Cleveland is where quarterbacks go to die. So obviously he was already drafted to a bad situation. And he took them to the playoffs and won a playoff game for Cleveland in 2020. And he also played under an offense that is very similar to what the Buccaneers are bringing in this year. So obviously they're trying to capture that 2020 season when the last time he was fully healthy. 2021, he gets hurt, has a torn labrum, can't throw to his left. So obviously bad decisions and forcing the football. They're not helping him out by running the football either. So you have to look at those contexts. Last year, he gets traded to Carolina very late in the offseason, shows up to camp, has to try to learn the playbook, get familiar with the pieces around him, a bad coaching staff under Matt Rule who ends up getting fired. So it was just not a good situation. Then later he goes to the Rams, actually plays well because it's a system that suits him and fits what he does best, which is play action, rollouts, moving the pocket, quick timing throws, all the stuff that you're going to see with the Buccaneers this year. So you have to kind of break it down into that situation and look at the context. Now he's coming into a new place in Tampa, a great situation with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, probably the two best receivers he's ever played with in his career.
Yeah.
And a good defense. Yes, a good defense behind him that is going to help him out.
Right. The defense it's not like the defense was the reason why they were losing games last year.
No.
They could hold on as much as they could.
The defense was the reason.
Just throw on them.
The defense was the reason they won games last year. So it kept them in games. So when you look at all of that, I think Baker has a very good chance to have success this season. He's finally healthy.
Player of the year success? Comeback player of the year success?
I think he's got a chance to have very similar success to like a Geno Smith type season. I think that's what they're counting on. And obviously he's got to stay healthy and, we'll see where it goes. But I like his chances to play well. The guy was the number one pick for a reason. And he's got a lot of ability to his game.
All right. We'll see. So speaking of number one pick, let's get to the Carolina Panthers real quick, just moving through the South, kind of moving upwards actually through the South. So I looked up these stats for Cam Newton, actually, when his rookie year with the Carolina Panthers. He threw for 4,051 yards, 21 touchdowns, and then 706 rushing yards and 14 touchdowns in his rookie year. So obviously, Carolina fans are thirsty for that again because holy shit. I remember that first game, he threw for 400 yards, back-to-back games to start off his NFL career. And he really put that city on his back and, carried on. I mean, got to that one season where they almost went undefeated and just barely lost to the Broncos in the Super Bowl. So now all the attention and all the focus is on somebody who's not even remotely close in size to Cam Newton. Like we went from Superman to like
completely different players.
Yeah, Ant-Man and the Wasp, right? So do you think this is something that might be in the back of his head that I have to live up to it? And do you think he can live up to it?
No, not necessarily. I don't think he's looking at Cam Newton and that history or the past. I think he's, focused on right now. And they're two completely different players. I mean, Bryce Young is way more advanced as a passer than Cam Newton ever was in his entire career. So when you look at it from that standpoint, I mean, Bryce Young, I think will have success, but he'll also have, lows. It will go up and down. I'm not really high on their receivers or tight ends or weapons around him. So that is something that they have to look for. I think you're going to see a lot of Miles Sanders where they're going to try to run the football, obviously, and utilize him and see, if he can elevate their offense with the running game.
Yes, Frank Wright. It's the system that we know. We just gonna run the hell out of the football. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. And and their offensive line, I think, is coming together. They have some pieces, but it's still going to be a pass rush where the opposing pass rush is going to be able to get in, and Bryce Young's going to face a lot of pressure early on. Yeah. So I mean, it's going to be Yeah, it's going to be up to him, to avoid mistakes, but still a rookie. So he's going to learn. He's going to get a lot of up and downs throughout the season. But I do think they will be improved from a record standpoint.
And what did they finish last year? It was like, what, 3 wins, 4 wins?
No, they all the teams finished with seven wins.
That's right. They all had
the
a chance to make the
Bucs won
playoffs.
the division with 8.
So you think you're right. You think improve. So if they improve on the record, you think they have a chance to have like a winning record this year already?
No, I think they'll be right in that same spot, like 7 to 8 wins. I just think they'll look better. They'll look more efficient at times because of the better quarterback play that they're going to be getting from Bryce Young. Doesn't mean they're going to win, 9-10 games. I just feel like they're going to make improvements. They'll make strides.
What I like that they did this offseason, because I'm always paying attention to, like, sometimes the moves don't really make sense, but they kind of, in my head, I'm like, all right, now I see why they did that. They got some like grown-ups that have been, that have been around the block or gone through some things around him now. Like Adam Thielen, I mean, if you want to talk about like a movie, like, a Disney movie or something like that, Adam Thielen's career is pretty damn out of nowhere too. Like, he worked his way into that team in Minnesota. So, the whole story, obviously, and he's done great for his career. I think having somebody as solid as him in that locker room is going to be good for somebody like a Bryce Young. They also went and got, I think, DJ Chark, if I'm not mistaken.
DJ Chark.
And then obviously they changed the coaching staff from the incompetence that they had the last couple of years to somebody who just won a Super Bowl as an offensive coordinator a couple of years ago. So he knows how to be in a winning situation. Indianapolis, who we'll talk about later, I can't really say the same for them. But yeah, so, ultimately, I think they're going to be fine. Now, it's just a matter of like I have to look at the schedule, so I don't really know who they're going to be playing to try to kick it off. But kind of looking at the landscape of the South, I always got to rank how good a team is based on the quarterback, right? So you got Baker, you got Derek Carr, you got Bryce Young, and you got Desmond Ridder.
Desmond Ridder.
So, like, quite frankly, at this early age in his career, he's probably already maybe the second best quarterback in the division. Because, I'll say Derek Carr, I'll give him that. Baker, if you told me right now I had to pick one of these guys to carry my team for the next 10 years, I'm picking Bryce Young over Baker. I haven't even seen it in the NFL yet, but I just know maturity-wise, I'm definitely going to take Bryce Young.
Yeah, sure.
So
I don't disagree.
So yeah, I think the I was talking about windows last week as far as like who has a championship window. Obviously they don't have a championship window, and it's not there yet. Like, nothing's close to opening. But now that you have the guy, like, remember Russell Wilson, they built around him. Jalen Hurts, we're building around. Like, now they have somebody they can trust. It's time to start building, and I think this is the time where the South is kind of down right now. It's like anybody can win the NFC South now, so it's a good time right now if you're one of these young guys that think you can take your team to the next level. But A-Rod, any impact or input on Bryce?
I'll be quick as I can. I was speaking with Jamal today, and him and I are on the same page. Is this like, for quarterbacks to be great, I think they need to sit. I don't care where you're drafted, make them sit, man. Like, I know Carolina's fiending for it, but
who's the backup?
Andy Dalton. And I think Andy Dalton is a serviceable quarterback to get you.
Yeah, you're right. But it's the problems that they traded up to get that number one pick. They traded capital to get that number one pick. So now we need to see our ROI quickly.
I understand that, but you'll get more ROI if you let him sit and he gets to learn. And I think that's the better move. I do like Bryce Young. I do like the moves that they're making. Okongwu on the O-line, signing of Fleming. The O-line starting to come together. It's young. The team is getting young. I thought getting rid of DJ Moore was kind of dumb, but it's a business. But you bring in, like you alluded to, Adam Thielen, who's been around the block. He's a likable guy. He's a locker room guy, an old head. He's serviceable. DJ Chark, I feel like teams give up way too quick on him, and I think he's got something to prove. And you got Chenault, and you've got Terrence Marshall. I think that's a good little young core with a veteran there to lead it. Miles Sanders signing is great. Now you have an official running back on the team after you decided to move on from your best player who didn't want to be there, which I don't blame him. And then Hayden Hurst, he's quiet, but he's put the number. I just think what has to happen is the defense has to fall into place and gel and work well. But as far as the offensive side, I think they have the tools to be successful and make a push. But yeah, I think 7 is the ceiling for wins for them for me, I would say. But I'm a personal believer in sitting the quarterback, letting him sit. And when his numbers.
Did I just tell you what Cam Newton did his first game?
Yeah, I understand that, but
in his first year, sometimes you got it, and sometimes you don't.
But let's look at the history from what it's been proven in the NFL for most starting quarterbacks and the ones that become.
Joe Montana started.
We're going way back. Let's look.
Peyton Manning started.
All right, never mind. I guess Patrick Mahomes is not a good example. I guess
Aaron
Rodgers is not a good example, and Tom Brady sure is.
Aaron Rodgers is not a good example. Aaron Rodgers had a great regular season career. Where the Super Bowls? I see one 14,000 years ago.
All right, he's got one. He's got one more than Cam Newton has. He has one more than Bryce Young has right now. He's got MVPs. He's got a lot
Bryce Young hasn't even played an NFL game yet. Shut up.
All right, I'm just saying. I said that's my.
All right, I'm cutting you off, Mike. Mike. So before I move on to the next team, I'm going to do the same thing. So as a Bucs fan, what's your level of fear versus Carolina between 1 and 10? 1 being not at all.
Yeah, I would probably say like a 4. Again, that just goes to the rookie quarterback. So that's going to hurt you at times. I mean, obviously he'll have the ability to elevate their play, but it's going to just be in waves. So the inconsistency is going to be too much to overcome for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would probably, the only reason it's a 4 is because I do like their coaching staff that they brought on, and they still have a pretty good defense when it comes to Brian Burns and some of these other guys, Shaq Thompson, and they still have a lot of good players on that side of the football.
Right. All right. Now the last 2 teams in the division, we got the Falcons, we got the Saints. They have their own little rivalry going on over there. So last year, there was Andy Dalton, the quarterback, they back up to Bryce Young now. So it's Andy Dalton with the combo of Jameis Winston. And they had a pretty decent season considering, all the things that happened first year without Sean Payton. Atlanta did not have a horrible season. Like they literally played well enough to almost get into the playoffs. And to me, this summer, they've made a lot of small moves that I'm really a fan of. Just getting veterans and grown-ups in the locker room, because at the end of the day, they have a young offense. They got young quarterback. What is it, second year, third year? Second year. So they have young running back who's the talk of the town, could be the next Adrian Peterson or something like that. They got a young wide receiver. It's like and tight end. Like, so Kyle Pitts is like, damn, where are my targets? And Drake London is, I'm that guy. So a very young nucleus on the offensive end. So I think the veterans that they brought in, I'm a fan of. But between those 2 teams, like level of fear, Mike, how would you rank both of them as far as level of fear for you?
With the Falcons, probably lower. So I'd probably go with a 2. Just because when you look at their team, I don't really trust Desmond Ridder at all.
Yeah, that's the big problem.
Yeah, I do look at, what they have around him. I think there's some upside there, obviously, with Drake London and Kyle Pitts. Got an okay offensive line. They're going to run the football a ton because with Bijan Robinson and Cordell Patterson, they also have Tyler Algier. So they're going to run the ball a lot. And when you're matching that team up against the Buccaneers, it just doesn't put any fear into me because the Bucs are excellent at stopping the run. So
Bijan Robinson doesn't give you any fear?
no, I think again, he's a rookie. I think he's going to have his ups and downs. So I think, you can scheme around that. I think you can find ways to stop him. Defensively, again, they're still young. I don't think they have the pass rush needed. I know they signed Bud Dupree, but he's kind of, he's been there, done that, but hasn't really shown much lately. So we'll see what happens there. Secondary, I do like Jesse Bates. That's a good addition, the free safety, but don't really put a lot of fear in me because I think they're just going to be too inconsistent on both sides of the ball, kind of similar to Carolina. So kind of have them finishing 3rd and 4th in this division.
So then with the Saints, where are you with them?
The Saints are going to be neck and neck, I think, with the Bucs, right there for first place, because you add in a Derek Carr who, again, good enough, I think, is how you can rate him. He does have some prone to turnovers, especially when he faces pressure, like all quarterbacks do. But it's hit and miss with them too, because you have to see what happens with Michael Thomas. Is he going to be back fully healthy? Then you look at Chris Olave, who's, I think, a really top end receiver. But the big issue with them is they've lost a lot of pieces on defense, especially up front. So it's going to be a new thing on defense for them. You've got guys stepping into roles that they haven't played before. Secondary is still really good, and they have one of the best linebackers in the game in Demario Davis. But
and one of the best defensive ends in the game too.
Cam Jordan, is good, but he's just not that. He's not that pass rusher that he used to
against you guys. He wreaks havoc.
Well, sure, but Tristan Wirfs still owns him. But yeah, we'll see what happens there. I do think they have a chance to obviously win that division, but it'll just come down to how does that offense going to work with the new dynamics of Michael Thomas in there, and can Derek Carr be consistent?
So
that's a name I haven't heard in a long time.
Yeah, and also Alvin Kamara is out, with the suspension.
How many? It's like with 3 games, something like that.
3 games. They did bring in Jamal Williams, who is a very good signing. I do like that move.
And they got that rookie that I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about him in camp. So I mean, I think the Saints. I mean, so I was comparing Andy Dalton and Derek Carr as career stats, and they're virtually the same quarterback, but Andy Dalton in a lot of metrics is better than Derek Carr. So, everyone's so, I don't know, especially A-Rod. Everyone loves Derek Carr and, protect him.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
A-Rod wanted Derek Carr.
I know he did. Yeah. Over Aaron Rodgers, because he didn't trust that this all. Anyway, we're not going to go there. We're not talking about the Jets. Derek Carr is a slightly worse quarterback than Andy Dalton. So, why? Do you think all this? Oh my God! And wherever he lands is going to make a difference. Do you think there's anything to that? Like, do you think Jameis Winston will take his job?
Think so? 100%. You want my take?
Go ahead.
I think when you're put in a position like we always say about the Raiders, which is a bad run organization, they don't know how to draft well. They don't know how to keep players. Their players vehicular homicide and kill people on Vegas Boulevard. And
let's leave him out of it.
I'm just saying, like it's call a spade a spade. The organization doesn't control their players or have a good chokehold on their players. Don't know how to draft. Don't know how to sign free agents. And I think Derek Carr's just been playing to the beat of the drum. Like, we're going to get it right one year. We're going to get it right one year. Now you come into a situation where the Saints are a well-run organization. They know how to retain players.
Are they?
They are.
Sean Payton is not walking through those doors no more. And
it doesn't matter.
Before Sean Payton, they were trash. And after Sean Payton, I mean, shit, what am I supposed to expect?
Yeah, Dennis Allen's a little questionable, but
he is questionable, but he knows it. But yeah. I think regardless, whatever you want to say about Sean Payton, it's my opinion. I think the Saints are a well-run organization. I think they got it right. I think they got the right pieces there to be successful. Now it all comes down to, is Michael Thomas really ever going to play a game of football, or are we just being bamboozled by him every year, and the idiots who draft him in fantasy get your 3 weeks out of it and then get ready to drop his ass. But I think Derek Carr's coming into a good situation. They have a great offensive line, which the Raiders have never had. They have good running backs, which the Raiders have never had outside of Josh Jacobs, like 2 years that he's been there. They've got good wide receivers constantly. They're drafting them, coming in and out. And the defense is always stacked. So the Raiders, I could never say one thing on there that's like, oh, man, you had Darren Waller for a bit. You got Devontae Adams. There's not much else there.
Khalil Mack.
Yeah, Khalil Mack went out real quick when he was there.
Chandler Jones.
Chandler Jones was
Max Crosby.
Yeah, a lot of those guys are short.
Mark Cooper.
Hey, like none of those guys are there
but
except for.
It's not like they haven't had the talent. The talent's been there.
They haven't had the other pieces around them. I feel like the Saints have other pieces. You got DeMario Davis. You've got Sewell right next to him. You got another linebacker, the secondary. You've got good other secondary. You got a good line. You got good, like, it just makes sense.
Hear everybody just mentioned Khalil Mack, Amari Cooper. We're talking about Sewell. Come on, man.
All right, man, whatever. I think he's going to be good. I think the Saints won the division. That's what I think. And the Falcons, they're young. Desmond Ridder, I don't trust him. Bijan Robinson, I hope he has a good year. And the running back room is there's like 3 guys that keep hearing in camp. Like Patterson's going to have a job. Algier's going to have a job. And Robinson's like 3rd on the depth chart, which we know that's a lie. And the wide receivers, whatever. And Kyle Pitts, do better, bro. Other than that, the Falcons don't scare me at all.
All right, between the two teams, last question on the NFC South. Who do you have winning the South, Mike?
Oh, the Bucs.
Of course you do. So
yeah. They're the best defense in the division. They're just more complete. I think it's going to be right between them and the Saints, but I think the Bucs have the edge there.
I'm picking the Saints because I have to compare the quarterbacks. And as much as I'm not crazy about Derek Carr, at the end of the day, they're similar. The teams have similar rosters, similar talent, right?
Yeah,
I got to choose who's going to be the best quarterback between the two of them. I have to go with Derek Carr just because he does actually want to play. No one's ever questioned his leadership. Like, this is somebody who you can trust, dating your daughter kind of situation. So it's like, okay, cool. So I got to go with the more mature one. So I'll go, probably
that's fair.
8 and 9, 9 and 8, both of you guys.
We'll talk at the end of the season.
Hey, look, I mean, I'm not rooting against y'all. Now that Brady's gone, I'm back on the bandwagon.
It's all good.
So I'm riding that day. But all right, cool. Anybody that between those two teams that you must have in fantasy football?
Between which teams?
Between the Saints and the
Bucs
and the Falcons. Do you think Bijan's going to live up to all the hype already?
I think he'll have a solid year, but I just feel like there's going to be ups and downs. And most of that is going to be geared because of the quarterback. So a lot of defenses are going to come in. They're going to try to stop that running game. Now, if they are smart and they find a way to utilize them as a receiver, that's where it could get dangerous. But again, it's the trust of the quarterback. Can Desmond Ridder elevate his game to another level? To help out Bijan Robinson. That's where I just don't see it happening.
A-Rod?
Chris Olave.
That's what I was going to say.
Oh, yeah. Well, fantasy football,
have.
Chris Olave will probably have a really good year. He's the deep threat. He can do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
He'll be the high target.
Especially against that Bucs secondary.
Right.
And real quick, with Bijan, just real quick, I was watching a documentary. I told A-Rod about this a couple weeks ago. It's like a YouTube documentary. It's nothing real, but it was watching Barry Sanders' career. And you want to talk about somebody who never had anything, quarterback, receivers, nothing. Yeah. Boxes were loaded up against him no matter what. He ran for like 1,500 yards every single year he was in the NFL.
Well,
so if you're
special, different time back then.
But they were loading the box still. Nothing changed.
Right. But the athlete of the player is
Adrian
different.
Peterson. Yeah. They knew that he was going to run the ball 30 times a game, and they couldn't stop him. So sometimes the talent's there. If it's there, it's there.
Right. Yeah.
So
yeah. I mean, if he's that special, Yeah, definitely it could happen.
You sound like a skeptic.
I am. Just
I know. If you played for the Bucs, you wouldn't be saying this, but hey. All right. Move on. We're going to the AFC South. The most depressing division in all of football, especially last year.
Jaguars.
Now we got the young quarterbacks and the what is it, three or no CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson,
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence is not a rookie, but he's young, and then
young. Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, Tannehill's old ass, but they also have Will Levis and the other kid.
Yeah.
So depending on how the season goes for the Titans, right? So looking at all the teams, I wanted to start off with the rookies, right? We talked about Bryce Young in the last segment, and now we have another rookie quarterback here between Jesus Christ, CJ Stroud and
Ryan Tannehill?
No, Anthony Richardson.
God, drawing a blank. So, who do you think is more set up for success between those two? We're looking at the Colts situation, and we can talk about Jonathan Taylor, honestly, as well. Like, that's a weird thing to be walking into as a rookie. You're already pretty inaccurate in college, and they're wanting you to be Jalen Hurts already. So,
yeah,
they got that going on.
I'll just make it easy.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud is set up for much more success because Anthony Richardson is just not ready. Raw talent, unbelievable. Like, he can do everything, but CJ Stroud is just more developed, more advanced as a quarterback, as a passer. I think he'll have good, solid success. I don't know if it's going to lead to wins because their defense is still a little shaky. But I think offensively they could do some things, especially with the coaching staff that is there now with DeMarco Ryans. I think he'll put them in good positions. So
watching DeMarco Ryans in San Francisco, like, same thing I see with Saleh for the Jets. Yeah, he has that Robert Saleh in him. Like, you can just, damn, I want to run through a wall for this dude, right? So I think just that alone, because I just had Shane Steichen on my sideline in Philadelphia. He's a good offensive coordinator, but it wasn't like he was the architect of that whole offense. Like, that had a lot to do with Sirianni, with our current offensive coordinator now, who came from the University of Florida, Brian Johnson.
Right.
It was a collective. So it was like kind of like the Chiefs when they had Doug Peterson, Eric Bieniemy, they had all that stuff under Andy Reid. So just going off of coach alone, I'll go with the Texans now, just because DeMarco just has that thing about him. Now, as far as the players are concerned, again, I've obviously struggled with. I watched him play live twice, so I've seen it, and I'm like, God, this guy he's so like. Like, oh my God, that's the athlete on the field. Like, like if you were an alien and you fell from from space to Earth, and they said, identify the athlete, you're pointing to Anthony Richardson. So, and you can see that some of it's there, and it's not refined whatsoever. And I don't know how he's going to get that refined with, a running back who's not probably going to be there or does not want to be there, or we'll see what happens. Wide receiver and Mike Pittman, and he's okay. It's like, I know A-Rod's a fan, USC guy, but he's okay. And then a subpar offensive lineman. He got Quentin Nelson, but I don't know. Like, it doesn't seem like it smells right in Indianapolis, personally. So just off the rip, Houston just. The last game I watched CJ Stroud play, like a full game, was the game against Georgia that he played his ass off. He played his ass. It was like when Jalen Hurts lost to Patrick Mahomes. He played his ass off, but he couldn't make a field goal. So, A-Rod, compare the two situations. What you got?
I agree with Pless. I think Anthony Richardson isn't ready. And I also agree with you. I think it doesn't smell right in Indianapolis. I think Indianapolis was getting the pieces together, and they just were playing Jenga and they pulled out the middle one and the whole or the one on the side. And
Literally.
Oh man, I don't get it, because I thought they were putting together a really good team, and for like the last 2 years, I was like, this is my dark horse team. And
they were trying to do like what the Bucs just did with the Jets. They like, yo, just go get the quarterback. The Rams, same thing. Just go get the quarterback, and we're gonna be good. They tried it over and over and over, didn't work. Now it's like it's all literally falling apart. It's crazy.
Yeah, I don't like it. And Anthony Richardson, like, I like the dude in the fact that he wants the city of Indianapolis to like him. I know I was reading that they had to like pull him off the field from signing autographs for way too long. So I like that from his character. I just, looking at college tape, and like Pless said, raw talent. The talent can be there. He's a raw athlete for sure. Pause. Yep. But other than that, like, he's being thrown to the wolves once again. I think sit him. I know you dropped him high, but sit him. I do like CJ Stroud. I've come around to becoming more of a CJ Stroud fan, watching him play in preseason. D'Amico Ryans, like, you can't hate the guy. He's Robert Saleh type of dude.
He came back to the team that he played for.
Yeah, but we all know what happens with black head coaches in Houston. Thanks for your
year of service.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see you later, buddy. I like the way that they drafted. I thought they had a really good draft, getting two of the best players in the draft, and Anderson and CJ Stroud.
Yep.
The receiving core, you get Robert Woods there, who's a veteran. I think that's good for the locker room. I think Robert Woods has been around the block a few times with some teams and can give some knowledge to the kids. John Michie, we're waiting for that breakout. We'll see what happens there. I think they're just super young and they got to figure it out. But if you ask me now, what team would I lean more to? Shit, I'm a huge Shaquille Leonard fan, but I'm gonna lean more to the Houston side of stuff, man. Because Jonathan Taylor wanting to leave, that doesn't smell right. Yeah. Like, what did I understand? It's like paying these running backs. I understand that's a whole thing. I get that, but
they have a Jim Irsay issue.
Irsay,
he's the big problem.
He's a loose cannon.
But he wants to be Dr. Bus, but he ain't Dr. Bus.
Yeah, no, he's the loose cannon. But I'm gonna just say real quick, kind of just alluding to the Jonathan Taylor situation. Y'all do remember, our memory is so like forgot. We have short-term memory. Lamar Jackson, they said go find a trade partner, and he came right back and signed his deal.
Look at Austin Eckler.
They told him go find a trade partner, and he came right back and signed his deal. So like, it's just hardball. Honestly, at the end of the day, it's a business, and the agent somehow always finds a way to get the player to just do it my way, even though sometimes, like, bro, I'm just trying to go play football. You know what I mean? Like, I can't speak for somebody who's in those shoes, but the way I see it, I'm like, I'm getting 11 million or I'm getting 15 million. I'm still getting freaking 8 figures. Like, shit, sign me up for that. So, and obviously, the security, but like, bro, I don't want to talk about finances right now, but like, come on, man. Like, for me, I'm like, bro, I'm just happy to be making these millions. So, I think, especially how close to the season we are, no one's gonna like. They say there's 6 teams that are expressing real interest in him. The only team that's gonna pull the trigger that quickly is somebody like no, not to speak about the Eagles, but we're like what's his name? Howie Roseman is a loose cannon. Like, he will pull the trigger. But a lot of teams are not going to be willing to do that. Maybe the Rams, if they were good enough, would pull that trigger. The Jets would probably right now pull that trigger. But there's really no team right now that I can see that's just going to be like, we got it. So, like, for example, like Philly, we didn't pay Miles Sanders just so we can go with our $6 million room of running backs. Why are we going to go get this guy? So we have to give up.
It would be cool to have Taylor Swift.
Listen, I would love, because Taylor Swift is from Philadelphia, by the way. She's an Eagles fan. So we have Jonathan Taylor and DeAndre Swift. Jesus, that's just perfect. So, but back to the Jets. I mean, not the Jets. God, look at me.
Just come on over, baby. Just
Look
come
at me
on over.
thinking about the Jets. Long story short, AFC South. Who do you guys have winning it?
Oh, Jacksonville.
I like Jacksonville. There's a lot of shaky pieces there with, Etienne. People are like not very high on him and saying he's not capable. But he seemed pretty capable when he took the starting reins last year. You got Calvin Ridley coming back, and he looks hungry. He looks like he doesn't.
He have to pay off them checks.
He looks like he don't want to touch a dice ever again. Is what he looks like.
Yeah, you talk about fantasy, draft that guy. He's gonna have.
Hell yeah, he's on my list. He is on my list of must drafts.
Yeah, I like Jacksonville to win it, and Tennessee.
And before you even go, because obviously the reason why I asked you guys have winning, because we know the Texans or the Colts are not going to win a division. It was going to be between Tennessee and Jacksonville, right?
Mm-hmm.
Trevor Lawrence has definitely made that leap, and now he has a Super Bowl winning coach to help him do that. Whereas Tennessee, for whatever reason, gets disrespected every year. Last year, they really did shit the bed, but they find a way to be like winning 12, 13 games for whatever reason, right? And Mike Vrabel, we talk about coaches. He's a pretty damn good coach.
Oh, no, he's good. He's good.
So
I think it's going to be like Bucs and Saints for me. It'll be like very close. I have the Bucs going 2 in the division, but not like in the cellar or anything like that. I think like 1 or 2 games behind. It's going to come down to them again, and maybe just like a couple of years back where we saw the Colts and the Titans were in the neck and neck for the division, and just someone had to win, and it happened to be the Titans. I think it's going to be really close.
So I have it opposite. I have Jacksonville just running away with it. I don't think
Mike,
it's gonna
just stole it from me.
Yeah,
I think exactly how you feel.
I think Titans take a step back actually, just because their offensive line I think is not going to be very good. You still have Derek Henry, who they're going to rely on a lot, but the inconsistency of Ryan Tannehill, and then defensively, kind of suspect in the secondary. A front 7 that is okay. I think they have some ability there with Jeffrey Simmons, but I think they take a step back. So I see them around 6-7 wins. I think Jacksonville gets at least 11 wins and takes a major step up.
Same freaking page. I was like, the Titans do find a way to do what they do, right? Like whatever reason they do it, but it's time for them to kind of like rip it off, rip it up and put it back together. Whereas Jacksonville.
There's just something about DeAndre Hopkins for me, man.
Of course.
You could throw the ball 30 yards in front of him, and somehow he can't.
He didn't change life in Arizona. That you watched that
I did.
What do you call it? Hard Knocks or whatever. You watched it.
That's because Pipsqueak was the quarterback and was like, "Yeah, I want to grow up."
I started watching that. It was interesting. I haven't finished it.
It's so much dysfunction. I can tell.
Yeah, I haven't finished it, but.
It's gut wrenching to watch. Like the whole time, you can tell the motherfucker's gonna get fired. He's just like, "Hey guys, okay, I need you guys to go out there and do some drills."
So maybe there is a script. Maybe there's really a script because damn, he was on cue.
I don't think so, man. It just they alluded to the end, but we've been saying it for a long time. Arizona doesn't smell right, but I'm a true believer that Mike Vrabel is a good coach. He gets the right pieces. They play for him. He's kind of like a seasoned Robert Saleh and a seasoned Ryans. Like guys will run through walls.
He's the only one from Belichick that know how to coach.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. I mean,
it's good points. I mean, I just feel Jacksonville's just going to be
same
night and day above the rest of the teams, because I feel like last year was just a stepping stone for them, and now they're going to take a big jump forward. Really like what they have, and now you bring in Calvin Ridley.
That's the one. It's
going to be a good X factor. I think the defense is good enough. We'll see what they can do pass rush wise, but yeah, I just feel like they take a step forward.
Everything you said, I check off. So we're on the Jags. A-Rob might be on the Titans. He might change his mind, but
I said Jags.
Okay. All right. Cool. All right, cool. Now, moving on, still staying in the NFL. I'm not sure if you saw, Mike, that we put on our top 10 quarterbacks. I'm not saying I want you to give us your top 10, but
Okay.
I'm kind of first of all, A-Rod, I want you to talk about your list. But my question for Mike, before, who out of the right now, because it's a quarterback award when it comes to MVP, right?
Right.
Looking at the landscape of everything, who has the best chance to win MVP? And then I got the next question later. We'll start with MVP. Who do you think right now, just the way the makeup is, this guy's probably gonna win MVP next year?
Yeah, it's tough because you got a loaded AFC. I think a lot of the top quarterbacks are going to be battling out. Aaron Rodgers now with the Jets. You got Patrick Mahomes, who's probably the odds-in favorite. And then you look at Josh Allen. You look at Joe Burrow. So all these guys are top end. I think Justin Herbert is going to take a step forward. I really like his ability. I think he could put himself in the conversation.
With the coach, with what's his name?
Yeah.
Kellen Moore.
Yeah. I feel like he's going to have a really good year, and I like the additions of what they made at receiver, and so yeah, MVP for me. I take the easy way out. I'll go with Patrick Mahomes just because that offense.
Dark horse. Give me a dark horse.
A dark horse.
Yeah.
Oh man. I have the quarterbacks pulled up here. Let me.
Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence would be a great pick, actually.
The dark horse, not obvious pick.
No, I mean, yeah, I'm looking.
I think Trevor Lawrence would be a good pick. Actually, dark horse, I would say Jared Goff. You look at Jared Goff's numbers last year, I thought it was really good. He had a really good season, and Detroit is on that level to take that next step. He could be a guy that gets in the running just because it's a weaker conference with the NFC overall, and he could definitely put his name up there.
My dark horse would be Lamar Jackson. So but
he's already won it as well.
On my top 10, and A-Rod, I want you to give us your top 10 as well, but let me just say mine real quick. I got Mahomes 1, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Trevor Lawrence, Kirk Cousins. And the 10th spot was hard for me. I was between like 50 guys, but I put Dak in there so people don't think I'm a hater. So I made Dak my 10th. Quite frankly, I don't really give two shits about him. I don't think he's that good anyway. But just for the appeal, I'll put him on there. And in looking at that list, Mahomes, he should be winning it every year, right? Joe Burrow, he's to me is just the Peyton Manning to the Tom Brady, right? Like he's just gonna be so close, right? Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen, but I look at what they put around Lamar Jackson this year. Whoa, there's no more excuses anymore. Like you got a receiver, you got another receiver, you got a tight end, you got running back galore, you got the offensive coordinator. They've done something, and they gave him the money. Now it's time for him to go out there and just prove that you're that 2019 again. And I think his goal is going to be that 2019 again, which was a unanimous MVP season, right? So that to me is all right. I think he might just go ahead and win it. But A-Rod, your list and your dark horse.
All right. Before I go on my list, I just want to tell the people who follow our page, just like the picture, man. Y'all critique us like hell. It's our list. Let us be, man.
No. Critique. I love it.
No, I know, but we got 11 comments. We got 11 comments to 4 likes. All right.
Y'all should definitely like it and share it on your page. Share it to your friend. Post it on your story. It doesn't cost you any money to do that. You know what I mean? But anyway, continue.
Just like our shit, people. God damn. All right. So first, of course, you got to go Patrick Mahomes. He's definitely number 1. 2, I put Jalen Hurts. I think he accomplished a lot last year, and I love his leadership. I want to put Joe Burrow too, but I'm putting him at 3 only for the fact that he gets hurt and like the O-line is a little bit shaky. And I know we use it as a crutch all the time, but he finds a way still. 2 and 3 are very interchangeable for me, but I'm going to put Joe Burrow there just going into the season. I put Aaron at 4 because I think he's happy again and he has he's set for success there, and I think the Jets are gonna, do big things this year.
Can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, from based on the comments that we're seeing, Aaron Rodgers, like, whoa, Aaron Rodgers top 5? Mike, can you just interject real quick, right? Where would you have Aaron Rodgers right now ranked in your, top quarterbacks right now in the NFL?
I don't think A-Rod's off there. Aaron Rodgers is still one of the best quarterbacks in this league.
Of course.
And with the skill players, I think him and Garrett Wilson will be a lot of fun to watch. And now you add the running game that they're going to lean on for Aaron. He's not going to be called on to do as much as he did for Green Bay. I think it's going to be really fun to see what he can accomplish under this system that he's going to play in. Also, Nathaniel Hackett, he's already worked with him before and had really good seasons. So, yeah, I would put A-Rod in the top 5 for sure. I don't think that's out of the realm. I don't think it's out of the realm. Definitely a top 10 quarterback for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. Now, A-Rod, back to you, because I know you watch Hard Knocks, right? Speaking of A-Rod, right? You know what I like about him? His relationships are like real. Like they're for real,
they're big.
Him and Randall Cobb. Oh my God, they're like literally brothers, right? Him and Nathaniel Hackett, him and former coaches, like, and you were alluding, he's happy again, right? You think that's going to be, do you think this is like, this is like a do or die kind of year? Because like I haven't seen him this happy in a long time.
I don't think it's a do or die year. I think he just demands perfection and has people that have the same wants and desires as him around him and surrounds himself around that. And at the same time has fun. Like, I love the relationship that he's making with Sauce. Like, the handshake is ridiculous. It's funny. Funny. Smoke the blunt, put it out on somebody now. So I love it. There's a new, I'm going to give you some sneak peeks of the Hard Knocks stuff. There's a clip going around on social media. One of the players got T-shirts made for the entire locker room, and it said, out of the dark and into the city. And he's giving it to everybody in the locker room, and it's based off Aaron Rodgers coming out of the darkness and coming into the city. So I think he just wanted to love football again. And I think in Green Bay, we talked about this last episode, there's no ownership. The front office is in shambles of what they really want to do.
It's cold as shit.
A guy like Aaron Rodgers, you should respect. He's done a lot for your organization. He's made, he's won a championship, and he's created a winning model there for you. And you really haven't had to do much but go into the draft and get players. Now the Jets have money to spend, and they can get stuff for him to make him better. Right. So I just think it was falling in love with football again for him. So I got Aaron at 4. At 5, I got Josh Allen, because I think Josh Allen, I think he's a great player, but I think we romanticize and fantasize, about all the things about Josh Allen way too much. I think every year we're expecting him to make MVP, and he just shits the bed at the right time of the year, and we're like, that's what we were expecting. I want actually, no, I don't. Let me take that back. I don't want the best from him because he's in my division, and I need to win a Super Bowl before I die. But I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid of Josh Allen. I think he's good. He's in my top 5, but he's not my top 2, 3, or 4. I'm sorry. And if you don't like that, suck it.
All right. Real quick. So, because I want to focus on one player, right? So, you got Lamar 6, Herbert 7, Trevor Lawrence 8, Kirk Cousins 9, Geno Smith 10. Anybody can go, like the 10th spot to me. Anybody can go in the 10th spot.
I like Geno Smith at 10.
I put 10 because he made a big leap, and I was very, very impressed with his maturity.
Exactly. That's why. Exactly, and that's why he deserved the award that he won. So, but I want to focus on Justin Herbert really quickly for the two of you guys. We've expected so much of Justin Herbert every single year. Like, literally, like, he's supposed to be like God, basically, the way they talk about him, right? And I mean, does he have any? He doesn't have any playoff wins, right?
Don't
think so. So 0 playoff wins. He relinquished a 27-0 lead, and against the guy who is like his prototype in Trevor Lawrence over there. And San Diego / the LA Chargers have, for the last how many years now, we've all been closet fans from the Chargers at some point. It's just natural to be a closet fan of theirs. And it's always like, oh, we got LT, oh, we got Phillip Rivers, oh, we got Sean Merriman, we got this. It's like, they've had so much, but they can't ever just put, even the years when they go like 14-2 or whatever, can't win a playoff game. It's just, it never really clicks. And
a lot of heartbreak.
I look at Justin Herbert, and I do think he's skilled. I do think he's talented, but I'm all about organizations. Like, can you overcome your organization? No one has been able to figure out Cleveland, and I don't think anybody ever will. Like, there's this organization that you just can't overcome. And it's not like the Chargers are horrible. You know, they have a lot of regular winning seasons, and a lot of, you know, they have a few Hall of Famers, but what do you think Justin Herbert's career is going to be like another Phillip Rivers, or do you think there's actually something there that maybe they can actually like pull it all together?
I mean,
go ahead, Alex.
No, you go ahead, Pless.
Okay. No, I was going to say, I mean, you know, the coaching with Brandon Staley, it's been up and down. It's been a little shaky on his end. But, you know, this roster, I think they've put some things together. I love the draft pick of Quentin Johnson to pair up with Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. And I think Justin has everything he needs to take his game to that next level. It's about consistency and, you know, understanding certain situations, when to be aggressive and when not to. But yeah, I don't think he's going to be in that Phillip Rivers conversation. I think he has an opportunity to, you know, eventually make it to that big game and get into the Super Bowl, because he is that talented.
And you know, the AFC is loaded.
Yeah.
For years to come.
Right. So I don't think it's going to be a detriment to him. I think he's always going to play well, and I think he'll continue to grow and get better. And unfortunately, he's only one guy. It takes, you know, a whole team to win a championship. So there's going to be outside factors out of his control that it could end up, like you said, like a Phillip Rivers, where it just doesn't happen for him. But I think they'll be always in contention to make that run.
So, and before you go, A-Rod, because I just wanted to like kind of disagree with you on, I know he's only one guy, right? But I've seen there are certain people who would just walk into the locker room. Tom Brady walked into that Bucs locker room, and everybody got better. Like, every single human being in the locker room got better. Aaron Rodgers walked into that Jets locker room, and everyone just seems like they've just gotten better. Tim Tebow we watched the Untold. Tim Tebow walked into that locker room, and dudes was working out at 12 in the morning instead of going to the club, because Tebow wanted to work out at 12 in the morning. So,
right. Yeah, I mean, that's the next step he has to make.
Do you think he can be that guy that everyone's just like, you know what, I want to follow him like that? Because he seems like a quiet kind of leader to me, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, leadership is, you know, that was always talked about when he was coming out in the draft, and that's probably the missing piece that right now he has to work on and find a way to elevate, like you said, elevate guys around you to reach his kind of level. So that is something that, yeah, I mean, he's going to have to take that step. But also, I mean, you look at last year, that playoff loss, I mean, can't put all of that on him. I mean, he put him up enough to win that game, and
so just Matt Ryan against the Patriots, and to me, Matt Ryan and Justin Herbert,
but also
having the same career.
But also to some of your examples, I mean, you talk about Tom Brady. Tom Brady had the best organization around him. I mean, they ran everything very well, and he did his job, you know, to quote Bill Belichick. And also, he's probably one of the best quarterbacks of all. He probably is the best quarterback of all time. And Tom Brady,
most accomplished quarterback of all time. A-Rod.
I think, you know, I allude to two things about quarterbacks. There's ones that make players around them really, really good. And then there's guys that just, you know, command a locker room that players will run through a wall from them. And, you know, Joe Burrow's that kind of guy. I know he's really, really young, but he did it right coming out of college. And I think Justin Herbert, like, let's not forget, he was the second quarterback taken in that draft. Everyone was high on Tua.
Third. Then they drafted Tua before Herbert. So it was Joe Burrow, Tua, and then Herbert.
Okay, third. Okay. And all I remember seeing in college was Justin Herbert. Like Joe Burrow came out of left field. Because the year before I saw Joe Burrow or Justin Herbert, and I was like, man, this guy's a clear-cut number one
prototype. It's the prototype.
Yeah, really good. I think it's too small of a sample size now. He's going on year 4 now. He should start picking up steam, getting to understand the league, getting to understand his team. But I think the biggest problem with the Chargers, and I think we talked about it, is the head coach. I think Staley is just not the right guy for the job. He made a questionable call last year. I remember we were like, what the fuck is going on here? Why is this guy not fired?
It's not a call. He's made a lot of questionable calls.
Yeah, and you allude to this all the time. You say some guys are just glorified offensive coordinators, and some guys are glorified defensive coordinators, and that's what it is. I just see him as an offensive coordinator. But I think Justin Herbert, being in the top 5, being in the top 10 quarterback talk is an honor in itself. You know, top 5, that's tough. Of 32 teams, top 5, that's really, really tough. But the Chargers are consistent. The Chargers have a good team. They put out a product. If they can get it right, I think the sky is the limit for Herbert, and Herbert can leap into that top 5. I have all the trust in him to do it. I just think that there's something brewing in LA that just doesn't seem right. And it's all with like the Austin Eckler thing and the Staley keeping him. Like there's just a lot of.
I think they'll overcome that. That's just, I mean, business is business. Unfortunately, it just sucks.
But... I know, but I'm just saying like that just puts one thing in like your head in the locker room. There's a guy who's kind of disgruntled, but he's going there to do his job, and
Austin Eckler's a good guy. If it was like Eddie
okay,
Curry,
Eddie Curry,
I'd be like very concerned.
What I tell you, and like not to allude to the Jets, but what I tell you, when Quentin Williams is signed, everything will be good, and when everybody's happy and everybody's paid, locker room looks good. That's all I can say. So I think Justin Herbert has the potential to be top 5. Hell, I could put him at top 3 if he gets his shit together and gets it right. But I think he's just got some things to work through, and it's just year 4. The guy's going to be in the league another like 10 years. It's going to be okay for him.
All right, cool. And do you have a dark horse for MVP, or do you have somebody other than Mahomes for MVP?
Oh, I mean, I have Mahomes to win the MVP. If you say
so, who's your dark horse?
I said it. Trevor Lawrence. That's
Trevor,
my dark
horse. So, you're buying everything you see over there in Jacksonville. You think he can make that leap to MVP status?
I'm buying it. I think for what we preach all the time is for young quarterbacks that you throw into the fire right away, for them to be successful, put a team around them. And Jacksonville is doing that. They saw Calvin Ridley and they're like, oh, he's just got a gambling addiction. We can fix that. So, you know, they go and pluck him from the Falcons, which
$1,500. Oh,
yeah. $1,500. Shit. I think they're getting the right pieces. They're shedding the right piece. Like Leonard Fournette, I was like, why did you do that? That made no sense to me, that you're going to get rid of the guy that's been the bell cow for your team, scoring all the touchdowns, putting the points on the board. And I saw why. He was disgruntled and he didn't want to be there. He didn't
lazy.
I don't think he's lazy. I think he was with the Bucs. He was lazy when they won the Super Bowl. He got busy for the Bucs, but
year. But now he got the jewelry. He was like, all right, cool.
Yeah, exactly. Anthony Davis 2.0, you know, didn't want to show up to practice in shape. So I think to be successful, you put pieces together. And I think the Jaguars have done that. I think the Chargers have definitely done that. Well, at least in the secondary, they just get secondary players every year. So maybe they should call the Bucs and say, this is what we do. But, you know, I'm not going to drag on the Bucs. I think putting players in the position to succeed is good, and Jacksonville's done a great job of that.
All right, cool. My last question on the quarterbacks. I'll start with you, Mike. Who do you think out of all 32/64, whatever quarterbacks in the NFL, is it under the most pressure this season to, you know, like to prove themselves? Because if it doesn't happen this year, it's not going to be looking good for you after this year. Like, who do you got for that?
I'll go with Brock Purdy. I think
already.
Yeah, he's got a lot of pressure on him because that team is built to win like now, and they could be right there in the Super Bowl. They're that
And
good
could be
as
giving up on Trey Lance too.
right. Yeah, Trey
Poor
Lance.
Trey.
Yeah,
Trey.
poor Trey. He's another guy that was super raw coming out, didn't get the proper
Yeah.
development that he needed. He got injured as well, so that didn't help him. But
Like Alex Smith 2.0. It's just
but Brock Purdy, Brock Purdy has a lot of expectations on him to be the guy and to deliver, at least be consistent, and that's what he was last year. So I mean, we'll see if he's the real deal or not. But yeah, a lot of expectations for that team.
I mean, you're right, but that's just he's only a second year player, Mr. Irrelevant. Like I don't. The pressure shouldn't be there because yes, he had a great end to the last year and unfortunate injury in the playoffs. But I mean, shit.
If I had to name another guy, it'd probably be Derek Carr. Because again, of that contract that he got, there's high expectations for him to be that missing piece for the Saints, and I just don't see it. I think he's gonna fall on his face. But yeah, Derek Carr I think has a lot of riding on his shoulders.
A-Rod.
I would say Dak. Dak is the guy that like has the most pressure. Like, they already took Zeke away from him, his best friend, and Jerry Jones, is probably crying in his bed right now. And they're like, they took the landline out there so he can't call Zeke and like just I miss you and all that shit. I feel like Dak's window is slowly closing in Dallas, and we don't pay attention to it as much because Dallas has
a mess of a franchise.
Dallas just has this. You referred to this a long time ago, KK, that Jerry Jones has an infatuation with his players.
Oh, he let him boy. He does.
He lets that get in the way, and I think Dak. I've been high on the guy for so long, and I just watch him, shit the bed really bad. Like he'll go and I'm sorry, Pless, I know you don't want to hear, but tear the Bucs apart in the playoffs in one game. And I was saying the Bucs are going to win that game, and they laid down.
Bucs had no chance.
But the next game he gets, torn down. So I just think if they don't put the pieces together, because I can think like 3 years ago, the team was way better than it is now. The pieces they had on that team, it was way, way, way better. And it's like we're running out of money, we're running out of time, you're not getting any younger, like what are we really doing here? Like, and we're paying you all this money. So I feel like Dak is one. Another one that I feel like, and people might not like that I say this, might be Josh Allen.
Why do you steal my shit, bro?
I just think Josh Allen, like
I agree.
I don't think they give up on him. I don't think they're gonna, like, he's too good to give up on.
Don't give up on him. Yeah, no.
But I think something is brewing there with with Stephon Diggs. I think Stephon Diggs is like eating those words that I didn't like, not to allude to the Jets again. I think he's alluding to like, I didn't want to go to the Jets, I bet he would love to be there now because I think he would have more fun. I just think that they come up short every time, and there's talent everywhere on that team. Every player on the Bills is all pro potential or Pro Bowl potential, and he just makes bonehead plays when he doesn't need to make. He'll beat the big teams, but he'll lose to the Bears, and like you can't lose to the Bears. A loss like that is detrimental to your record.
Well, how about this? Somebody we were just talking about him getting fat shamed early on, and he just got drafted right before Justin Herbert. Tua Tagovailoa, right? Or however, I hope I said that right, Tua. I'm sorry. Tua. I mean, we talking about pressure. They're in the kind of I wouldn't say he's in the same boat as Josh Allen because Josh Allen's proved more, but Tua is in a level of pressure as it is because he's got the head injuries to think about in the back of his mind, no pun intended, and his performance on the field needs to be consistent because everyone's been real hard on him. So, I mean, what do you think about Tua?
I mean, 2-2. I would also say Kirk Cousins as well. Kirk Cousins has like a prime offense to succeed in.
He's too likable of a guy.
I know, but like he's still. I
They
know.
love that man.
I know they love that man. Same thing with Josh Allen. Like I know he said the N-word in his tweets when he was in high school, but like he's a likable guy now. So I feel like there's a lot of quarterbacks that teams are thinking like we got to get younger, we got to get the right guy in here. We can't be coming up short in games like this. But yeah, I feel like 2 is definitely one as well. I mean, I feel like that's the obvious one. Like you've got this guy on the rookie contract still. You can extend him to year 5 if you want. I think they picked up the 5th-year option. I don't remember, but yeah, he's got to be healthy. And if he
how close is he? Do you think to not being the starting quarterback of the Dolphins next year? Because you got to think. I don't think they're going to be bad enough to get a good quarterback out of the draft, and who's going to be available in free agency.
Yeah.
I really don't know. Time will tell what will happen, but I think 2 is the clear. I love the guy, man. I just wish he could be healthy, man. I hate seeing him not healthy. He has to be healthy and he has to play well. And if history proves itself, when he was playing last year, he was playing pretty well when healthy. You know, just when we saw the hand thing go up, like the Crip sign, I was like, damn, man, this might be the it for to hang it up. But I don't know how that O-line is. I haven't really looked at it. I know they got a guy from Dallas and some other, but I feel like if you want your quarterback to be successful, like I always keep saying, you set them up for success. And the first thing should be the O-line and then the weapons. They've got the tools on offense. We all know that. But the O-line's got to be there to protect them. So
what about you, Mike? With Tua?
Oh, I think, Tua is a good quarterback, but like Alex said, can he be on the field? You're only good as your availability. So if he's healthy, he's a very solid quarterback, and he put up good numbers when he's out there. So I don't think there's any time soon where they're going to move off, from him. I like him as a quarterback, and he's a great fit in that system that Mike McDaniels runs. And yeah, I mean, he's just got to be out there. If he's out there, he makes plays. So we'll see.
All right. Well, that's all I got with the end of the National Football League. A-Rod, I would like to give the floor to you. What's on your mind? What has been turning in your mind for the last however many months, years, days, whatever?
I mean, I'll start off with today's Kobe Bryant's birthday, so it's a sad day, and then tomorrow's Mamba Day, so rest in peace to one of the best to do it. I have a love-hate relationship with Kobe Bryant. It came back to love towards the end of his career, but it took me a while to understand the way Kobe Bryant was for the longest. I always thought he was just a punk ass kid that ran Shaq out of there, and then I kind of saw what his mentality was. He wanted greatness, and I could see Shaq's sides, I could see his, but I understand Kobe now. So rest in peace, Kobe. For me, what's been going on, man, it's been a whirlwind for New York sports for me, man. The off season for the Knicks, getting rid of Obi Toppin, that's been great for me. I don't got to worry about Nick Wilkie sending me shit about Obi Toppin anymore. There was actually a clip of him cussing out Tibbs in the locker room after the win.
Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Yeah. So Nick sent that to me, and I was like, but I'm excited for basketball season, hoping for, things to pick up, and they pick the ball up from where they left it off and keep running with that same team and gelling and getting the right guys in there that know what the assignment is, not guys that want to leapfrog and be selfish individuals, kind of like Obi is. The Yankees, it's just the Aaron Judge show. It's just the Aaron Judge show. Everybody else is like, they're done. They're done. By a thread to make the playoffs, and I don't think they will. But I'm really excited for football. You know that. I don't want to talk about them today. Watch Hard Knocks, see my excitement. There's a lot to be happy with this team. But I'll throw it to Pless, man. I don't want to talk about my shit. Talk about what's on.
Sorry, real quick. Aaron Judge had 3 home runs today.
Yes, he did, sir.
3 home runs today,
and a grand slam. One of them was a grand slam.
I picked him in my parlay to get a hit they had him at 0.5. I said 0.5. Let me smash that real quick. But yeah, Mike, what you got going on, man?
I mean, just really excited. I mean, this is my favorite time of the year. You get football coming up, college football as well, and then you have, playoffs for, baseball and basketball starting. So really, it's like every sport going at once, and it becomes, like Alex said, a whirlwind where you kind of get overwhelmed, but it's awesome at the same time. But yeah, just really looking forward to this Buccaneer season. Really excited about the content that we're putting out for Real Bucs Talk, and thank you guys for having me on. It was a lot of fun, and yeah, I can't wait to look back at this and be correct. So
all right, so we got the Bucs winning the division. What else were your bold statements today?
I think, I mean, there wasn't
Jacksonville
any
runs away with the division.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be right there, but Jacksonville running away. I mean, it's not like the Bucs can't, but we'll see. We'll see.
I just feel, Baker's going to surprise a lot of folks. I think this offense is going to be a lot better than it was last year. They're going to be able to put up points. I think, a lot of people talk about the offensive line being a weak spot, which it could be. But I just feel like the offensive coordinator has a lot of smarts behind him, and I think he's going to put these guys in the best position to be successful. And using analytics for the first time in a long time, just it's going to make a big difference for the offensive side.
Using it the right way too, because some people just rely too much on the analytics. I'm like, look, you got to put a human element into it real quick. And only thing for me that's on my mind real quick, Team USA basketball. I love Team USA basketball for what it does for the individual, because like when they get back to the NBA, i.e., Paul George got back and he was better. Kobe came back, he was better. LeBron came back, they were better. Like a lot of times they do this, this couple month long thing, and they come back to the NBA and they're better players. And Anthony Edwards, boy, boy, like next year, my two, like if I was a gambling man, my two people I put money on to win MVP is Anthony Edwards and Luka Doncic, because Luka Doncic, for the first time during the summer, is in shape, and he's playing for his country, so he's actually going to show up in shape. He's been showing up to these NBA seasons kind of overweight and have to play back into shape and still putting up gaudy numbers. So for him to already be showing up in shape, I gotta say, Luka's definitely going to be.
What have I been saying about Anthony Edwards, though? I've been saying this about Anthony Edwards.
Yeah, we knew, but like this is this is the time when he had to be the captain.
Find that clip where I said he's better than Ja Morant. Find that clip. I think
did have it as a poll question.
That's easy. That's an easy decision.
I think the problem that he had in Minnesota, he was hampered by who wants to be the leader on this team. You had D'Lo, you had Cat, you had him, and he was like, I'm the clear-cut guy. I feel like
Cat's not a leader.
Cat is a clown. Cat is a clown. D'Lo is an even bigger clown, and Anthony Edwards is him. You saw the interview. Whatever sport you want me to, whatever you want me to, I'll do it.
But I just hope that because the FIBA World Championship is coming up real quick. We don't really have a presence in the middle as a center. Like we're relying on what's his name from Memphis, and
they're playing Paolo Banchero at center.
And Paolo Banchero, like, come on, bro, like, does not make sense. And I love Paolo.
He's gonna be great this year.
So I don't know if you know this, Mike. I'm a 76ers fan, and I'm probably entering free agency as a fan because I'm kind of done with the Sixers.
Pick up the Magic.
I've always been a Orlando Magic is my second team, and really good this year. I might just be picking up Orlando as my team.
Yeah, so. Franz Wagner, and they're gonna be really good.
KK, you can like the Magic for 1 year and then jump back to the 76ers. It's okay because the Magic will put you through the same.
I've done it. I mean, when Dwight Howard went to
Magic
the NBA Finals, I was a big fan. All right, Mike, go ahead and plug where we can find you.
Yeah, guys, you can check me out at Real Bucks Talk. Go to YouTube, type in Real Bucks Talk. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate the support. You can find us on social media as well, Twitter or X, as I guess you
Oh
call
my
it now.
God.
but yeah, you can find us on there, and yeah, got a lot of great content out. It's mainly Bucks
He
related,
does, y'all. He does.
but yeah, a lot of fun. We're very excited for the season.
Hey, Rod, where can they find us at?
Pless, always a pleasure. One day we'll get Mark. I swear to God,
One day it's coming.
one day we're gonna get Mark. You can find us on Twitter or X at fair_weather_pod. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Just search the Fair Weather Podcast, and where you subscribe or listen to podcast, you can catch the audio there. Words of wisdom.
So I just saw on Instagram a couple hours ago that some chick was getting sponsored by Mr. Car Wash down here in South Tampa. We could definitely get a sponsor if that's the case. Like Mr. Car Wash, all the money laundering these car washes do.
There's two of them. There's East Gandy or West Gandy, so we can get one of them.
We could definitely get that one that had he's on every corner. What is it? I don't even know what it's called, but yeah, car washes, money laundering and car washes are hand in hand. And so be careful who you use as your sponsor. That's all I got. Peace.